The Oklahoma City Thunder and Sam Presti have been the modern day example of extreme rebuilding and an extreme desire for draft picks. With that in mind, we are getting closer to the time of year where OKC will be at the forefront of NBA discussion with the NBA draft, where they have 3 first round picks, 2 of which are in the lottery. And so, with this year's draft in mind and the abundance of other draft picks they have over the next 5+ years, let's talk about the future of the Oklahoma City Thunder, the talent they currently have, and the tough decisions they're going to have to make. SGA is undoubtedly the best player and the best future piece on this OKC roster. He's had a brilliant 4th season in the NBA, specifically post All-Star break, where he played at an All-Star level before being shut down for the season, playing what I would consider to be the best basketball of his career. He is the star and the cornerstone to this OKC rebuild, and will be a key catalyst in determining the upside of this OKC rebuild. Lu Dort had a great full 2nd season in the league, showing more flashes on offense and specifically has shown more of an ability to create his own shot. He has certainly shown that on a competitive roster that competes for a title, he will be an elite level 3-and-D player who can lock down the opposing team's best perimeter player while providing some great spacing and some level of perimeter scoring. Josh Giddey was the most consistently impactful rookie in the Western Conference this season, winning 4 Western Conference Rookie of the Month awards, and as long as recency bias on Jalen Green doesn't screw him over, should make first team All-Rookie. He is shown to have great vision and passing with fairly good playmaking skills, while being a very good rebounder for his position thanks to his size and length at the guard spot. His scoring from catch and shoot and his own shot creation still needs much more improvement, but there's no doubt Josh Giddey is a good talent, and in my opinion is one of the top 3 most important members of this current OKC roster. The 3 above mentioned players are who I would consider to be the top 3. However, there are many other pieces to this OKC rebuild. Trey Mann had a very impressive rookie season and showed he has great scoring ability with the deep offensive bag. Darius Bazley had a very rough start to the season, but played much better over the final 2 months. His upside and importance to this OKC roster past his rookie contract is still uncertain, but he certainly has a role in the NBA moving forward. Poku is another player that had a rough start and struggled to find regular playing time. However, through February and March, he played fairly good basketball and showed why he is such a young, intriguing talent, and while still only being 20, has a very high upside. Aaron Wiggins had a fairly impressive rookie season and showed that he certainly has some offensive upside moving forward. Jeremiah Robinson-Earl also showed some upside in his rookie season, which looks to be another good draft pick for this OKC group. Ty Jerome and Theo Maledon had drops in minutes over the course of the season, and their production was not overly reassuring compared to the previous seasons, but they still have some upside moving forward as young guards. And Isaiah Roby had a 2nd full season in the NBA, which was fairly productive, increasing his 3-point shooting efficiency significantly, making him a significantly improved option at the modern NBA 4. There are a few other young players who played for OKC this year, but they played too few games and too few minutes for me to feel comfortable giving any bit of a quick analysis. Point being is that OKC have a long list of young talent, one of which is a star, some of which have star to near star level upside, and the rest, OKC will be continuing to evaluate and will have to continue to evaluate what role they serve in their future as they transition from rebuilding to competing. OKC have some very difficult and yet very, very important decisions ahead that there is no precedent for, that no other team in NBA history has had to deal with in this magnitude due to the large amount of picks that they have accumulated. Firstly, on a less unprecedented level, OKC will have 4 players that we have just previously mentioned that they will have to make their final evaluation and decision about before they get off of their rookie contract by the end of the 2022-23 season. Those players are Lu Dort, Darius Bazley, Ty Jerome, and Isaiah Roby, who are all on the last year of their deal, alongside Kendrick Williams, who is not part of this young core, but will also be at the end of his contract at the end of the season. And many say those decisions are simple, and OKC should re-sign all of them as they are players with some upside and are valuable to the OKC rebuild. But it isn't that simple and straightforward. So let's talk about why. OKC currently have 12 players under a contract that are under the age of 25. OKC also have 18 first-round picks and 13 second-round picks between the 2022 and 2027 drafts. Assuming only the first-round picks are players that make it to the OKC roster. That is 18 players that will be added to this OKC roster over a 6-year span. If you include second-round picks, then that is 31 players that would be selected and added to this OKC young group and roster over the next 6 years. If you include the players that are already on the team under the age of 25 with these draft picks, that is 43 players. No team in NBA history has ever had this magnitude of young players that could be on a roster. It just doesn't exist. But yet you can't have that many players on a roster. You have 15 and a couple of two-way guys. So it's obvious that the math doesn't check out for OKC to be able to use all these draft picks. They won't be able to use all of these players. And even with moving some of the draft picks, which they'll have to do, they won't be able to re-sign every player they draft as long-term pieces of the roster. Financially, it won't make sense. And again, you can only have 15 players on a roster, and with so many draft picks over the next few years that will be continuing to add players onto this roster, they're not going to be able to keep anyone because they're going to have extra roster spaces. So what does that mean moving forward? And what decisions have to be made over the next few seasons that we have never had to see a team make in the NBA? Well, as OKC now only have one season left before their first wave of players they've drafted or signed as part of this rebuild and their rookie contracts, OKC will be starting their now yearly cycle for the foreseeable future of determining which young players to re-sign, which to involve in trades, and which to let go. And sure, every team has to do this every year, but OKC are doing the high stakes and high volume version of it because of the amount of picks they have moving forward. Pretty much all of these decisions they will be making will be on players coming off their rookie contract as restricted free agents, not just as guys that are veterans on unrestricteds. This is very, very unprecedented, and as previously mentioned, already after the 2022-23 season, we will have Lou Dort, Darius Bazley, Ty Jerome, and Isaiah Roby all as free agents at the end of the season. So with this all in mind, with all of the unprecedented circumstances around the rebuild and the future of OKC, what options do they have moving forward to build a competitive roster to keep everyone happy and not end up having 30 guys who they end up wanting to have on the roster, which they obviously can't do? Well, there are two good options as far as I'm concerned. So let's talk about them. Option number one, trade up to acquire the best prospect in each draft class. OKC have an abundance of draft picks and young prospects, and so there's no need for OKC to simply use all of their picks on good to below average talent if they don't get good lottery luck. They don't need 18 first-round picks, and so if they trade up and acquire 2 and 3 other stars alongside SGA, they will be a great team with title contention upside moving forward, while still having enough other picks and other players already on the roster that they will be able to have enough depth around those stars. There's no point in settling for a pick farther down in the lottery if they get bad lottery luck and not trade up. There is no reason for them to do so. They have the assets. If there is a player they want to get, they should go and get them and trade up and acquire that pick if possible. Option number two, trade the picks for star players. Again, at the core of the options for OKC is going to be trading away picks. Because they have so many, it is simply unpractical to use them all for draft selections. OKC have more future assets to give than any other team in the league. So if and when a star becomes available on the trade market, OKC should be in the best position in the league from an asset standpoint. Now, of course, the concern and potential problem with this option is that in the modern day, star trades involve stars often picking where they end up going, or at the very least, they have the final say or some level of approval on the decision. This could be problematic for a small market such as OKC. It is possible that if they commit to being as competitive as they can be next season and prove legitimacy to an incoming star, then that increases the odds of a star wanting to come, but there is still no guarantee. However you feel about the OKC rebuild, the hoarding of picks in their current group of young talent, it is clear that OKC cannot use all of their picks and in turn re-sign all of the players that they draft with those picks. Some tough decisions are going to have to be made, and some trades, or probably more likely many trades, will have to be made to acquire talent that will allow this OKC team to become an NBA title contender and not have 30 players that they want on their roster at one time because of all these picks. OKC have all of the assets and all of the upside to have an NBA title contending team. But they have some very crucial decisions to make over the next few years that are completely unprecedented in NBA history, and I'm very excited to see unfold. That is my take on what's next for OKC. Be sure to let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Your subscription to this channel for more NBA content would be much appreciated as I push for 1,000 subs. Leave a like below. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.